This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. The task of forming a new constitution for the country, stressed by numerous military and civil conflicts, is a complicated one. In order to include all the necessary points in the new constitution, it is advisable that the already existing constitutions of the developed countries are consulted, and the works of reputable scholars in the area of political rights and freedoms are addressed. In particular, in the new Iraqi constitution, special importance should be attributed to the points of order, freedom, equality, and justice in the society. To present the reputable basis of these concepts in the new constitution, the works by Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, and John Rawls should be consulted as the sources of prominent political thought in the history of humanity. Order. Thus, the concept of order is discussed in detail by the famous English philosopher and thinker Thomas Hobbes, 1588 to 1679, in his most known work, the Leviathan. In this work, Hobbes draws the line between personal and political freedom and defines order as the milestone notion that delimits personal freedom and civil freedoms in society. According to Hobbes, when civil freedom rules the society, all actions of the human being are done not in order to his own mind, but in order to the laws of his country. Accordingly, such a vision of order is conformant with the accepted Western perspective of viewing the notion of order, as in the Western world. This notion is the basis on which democratic rights and freedoms are guaranteed to people in exchange for the personal freedom they partly referred to the society. Freedom. The notion of freedom is also of prominent importance for the development of the new constitution in any country, and the work titled The Second Treatise of Government by the reputable English scholar and political activist John Locke, 1632 to 1704, is a proper source to consult in this context. Thus, John Locke stresses the crucial importance of freedom and argues that freedom of men under government is to have a standing rule to live by, common to every one of that society, and made by the legislative power erected in it. Again, Locke's idea of freedom is obviously put in the basis of the Western vision of human rights and freedoms, as the freedom argued about by Locke is not the natural freedom but the controlled and partly limited freedom, which is limited for every single person in order to provide an equal degree of freedom in the society as a whole. Equality. Further on, the constitution of the country where the citizens are the fundamental value should also stipulate equality as the norm of social life. For this purpose, the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx, 1818 to 1883, and Friedrich Engels, 1820 to 1895, can be referred to but not necessarily followed. The point is that the communist idea of equality was the idea of equality in poverty, as far as Marx and Engels argued that if you want to enjoy political equality, abolish property. The only common point between the Communist Manifesto and the Western view of equality is the idea that equality should mean equal opportunity, not equal consumption or equal enjoyment. Accordingly, the most applicable notion of equality is the equal opportunity to develop and increase wealth, not the equality in poverty. Justice. Finally, justice is the primary element on which the relations between society and its members are built, and the idea of social justice as fairness by John Rawls, 1921 to 2002, is applicable to the task of developing the concept of justice in the new Iraqi constitution. According to Rawls and Kelly, justice in society is a complex of three ideas: liberty, equality, and reward for services contributing to the common good. Thus, justice, according to Rawls and Kelly, involves all the above elements of the democratic society and adds the reward for socially developing activities. Obviously, the Western vision of social justice is similar to the one discussed above and can benefit Iraqi society as well. Conclusions. The above discussion thus allows making the conclusion according to which the four essential elements of the Constitution that promote human rights and freedoms are order, freedom, equality, and social justice. Basically, the ideas on these four elements expressed by Thomas Hobbes, John Locke, Karl Marx, Friedrich Engels, and John Rawls meet the current state of things concerning order, freedom, equality, and justice in Western society. And the Iraqi government can use both the philosophic ideas and the experience of the developed countries in order to combine all the necessary parts in its new constitution that would value the human rights and freedoms and facilitate their protection by the state. Did you like this order, freedom, equality, and justice sample? To get more works like this one, make sure to check out the database of academic paper examples at ivypanda.com. You will find thousands of samples for all your study needs.